There have never been more businesses than there are today. And more are being created right at this moment.
In the last couple of years, more and more people are starting a business. Why do you think it's becoming so popular to start a business right now?
I feel, especially over the last 20 years, there's been like big influencers that were entrepreneurs. Like, this is aspirational, right? So like young kids look up to those people. They just want to be that. And so when it's time for them to make a selection, that they'll go this.
We've been seeing more and more people want to have their businesses, especially with the state of the world, that things that we thought were so certain, like our full-time jobs, the ability to create your own opportunity is really attractive.
So the idea of work has completely changed. The tools like Squarespace, Shopify, Gumroad, Teachable, Instagram, all these things that are available to a young person who's willing to put in the work versus going and getting a job. What would you do if you were 29?
If you start with an actual customer with a real need instead of an idea that you have over beers with your buddy, that's the way that successful businesses start.
We are living in a brand revolution, where this brand revolution is happening in 3 different battlegrounds. The first battleground is the attention economy. We are bombarded and inundated by brands and messages and new products and new features and campaigns and posts, content. The second battleground for this revolution is a creator's economy, where anyone in the world is creating content. And the third battleground is the experience economy, where the best brands in the world are educating us on having amazing experiences. The bar is always raising. You need to have a strategy. You need to focus. You need to make decisions. What are you and what you are not? Because of all these, I would say, monumental battlegrounds that are happening, if you really want to succeed in business, you need to take care of this. And in order to take care of it, you need to build it. You need to build the brand.
My name is Riza Esmaillet, and I am 34 years old. I have a PhD in biology, and I founded the startup DetectGene, which focuses on providing a mobile PCR test. There was a problem that emerged recently, and it has been particularly evident during the corona pandemic. A lot of people were infected, which put an extreme strain on hospitals. We are scientists, and we are directly connected to the emergency department that witnessed emergency rooms being quickly overwhelmed during the pandemic. The main problem was that there was no on-site testing that could quickly identify whether a patient was infectious or not. That's why we started DetectGene, to provide an on-site test that could quickly identify whether someone was corona positive or not. When we first developed the idea of a rapid on-site test, we faced a lot of challenges because we wanted to turn this idea into a product. I myself am a scientist, and my expertise is mainly in test reagents and test development. However, I didn't have any further knowledge to make this product a reality. That's why I started looking for co-founders who could support me in bringing this product to life. And that's when I came across Robin Bayer at the University Hospital in Cologne, who fascinated me with his expertise and his ability to support me by turning this idea into a real product.
Hi, my name is Robin Bayer. I'm a biomedical engineer, which means I got my PhD in medical molecular biology in Cologne, Germany. And I've been working in product development at the startup DetectGene for a year and a half. A classic daily routine for me looks like this. I get up around 4 a.m., go for a run, do an hour of yoga, and then start working. No, of course not. How does a classic daily routine start for me? First of all, the first coffee is essential, which is then usually accompanied by answering and reading emails. Then, of course, I set up a structure for all these challenges of the day and work through them one after the other. And of course, at the end of the day, a reward should not be missing. Spending time with friends, good food, or a glass of wine in front of the TV. In the market in which we operate, competition is naturally fierce. Many well-known companies are represented in this particular market segment. However, I believe that we at DetectGene, because we're still such a small, young company, can respond agilely and flexibly to customer requests and to current problems that may arise.
When you develop a product, you don't really know how to approach the customer and don't know how the customer will perceive you. There are many factors that determine the customer's perception of your business. These details were our biggest obstacle. How are we perceived by our customers? We are currently working out the best strategy to convey the right message to our customers.
So today, people think a brand is the logo or like the store or like the product. None of those things are the brand. The brand is ultimately, and this is from Marty Neumeier, is how a person feels and what they say and their thoughts. Brands are really made by the customer and by what they perceive. To introduce myself, I am Jose Caballera. I am the co-founder and chief experience officer and chief creative officer of the system. In 2014, I started a company called The School, which was to teach designers the business of design. It's now called The Future, but in 2020, we started the System Experiment again as a new company. We educate designers to be business-grade designers. We help place them into enterprise opportunities and support their careers as freelancers and as agency owners. So in the question of what is brand strategy and why is it important, there's so many other brands competing. When you build a brand today, you're not building the old monolithic, your logo and your distribution is going to support you. There's so many new competitors in every categories. But ultimately, it's about creating an authentic relationship with your customer, and it's about standing out. So that means that you have to have a strategy. You need to know who your customers are, have that prioritized. You need to know what they need and what you stand for that is going to resonate with them. So is brand strategy important today? No, it's everything.
And so if we're trying to create a gut feeling when someone interacts with our business or our brand, then a strategy is all of those actions or game plan for how we're going to show up in the world, how our business is going to show up in the world, so that we can stoke or we can spark that gut feeling in our ideal customers. So we want to be perceived in a certain way. What, as a brand, as a business, we want to be known for something, and we want someone to come to us and buy from us, not because necessarily their logical brain thinks like I should go over there, but first that their gut and their emotions tell them, oh, I gotta buy from that business, and then their logic brain will back up that. I am Melinda Livesey. I'm a graphic designer turned brand strategist, and I also help other creatives who want to make that pivot into brand strategy and learn how to create brands that really connect with the ideal customer. Yeah, a way to go about building a brand strategy is first to know who is the brand, why do they exist, why does it matter to anyone, so to our customers that we want to sell to, that we want to serve, why do we matter to them, and then how can we mean more to them than just a product. If we just need, I can print your papers for you. Okay, we're not really needing anything to them beyond just printing for them. But what if this printer was the easiest printer I've ever used in my life? It was super easy to connect, so then it's saving me time. It's meaning now more to me than just being a printer. It's meaning saving time. It's meaning that I can show up to meetings on time. That's what we're trying to do in a brand strategy, is we're trying to mean something more than just the product or service that we offer to our customers. So we have to know who our customers are. We have to know who the brand is. We have to know why the brand exists, why we built the brand, maybe the origin story. When we know who we want to attract and we know who the brand is, we can start knowing how the brand needs to show up to attract that particular customer. So I refer to brand strategy a lot as matchmaking. You're trying to find the perfect customer that's going to love what you do, but you also have to show up in a way that's going to attract that customer and produce that gut feeling.
I always say brands are like people. To me, I never studied advertisement or marketing. My background is on film. I grew up making stories, shooting stories. When I started as a creative director and I was in charge of like leading the Typeform brand and building that brand with a creative team, I didn't know sometimes like how to create the brand, and I was like on Google and on YouTube trying to figure it out a lot of the time. It helped me a lot, especially on the early days. It's like thinking, okay, brands are like people. So whenever I don't know how to think about a brand, I'm like, okay, if this brand was a person, what would it do? Hello, I'm Alex Antolino. I'm a creative director. Been working in the tech industry for the last 10 years, running brands like Typeform, Video Ask. Before that, I had my own studio. I was doing commercials and a lot of branded content for like big fashion brands and big tech brands. And today, I like to introduce myself as a creative director turned creator because I'm obsessed with the creator economy and how things are changing on like the advertisement space. In real life, if you are a person, you go to places and you dress in a certain way and you communicate in a certain way, and people will get an impression of who you are based on all of those things: your looks, the way you express yourself, the things you talk about, the way you interact with others, right? And the places that you go, the people you surround yourself with. For companies, it's the same thing. So brands to me are like people. And so online, you don't like a company doesn't talk to people unless it's through content or through their emails or their support tickets and all of that. And to me, that's why all of this is so important, because that's how people perceive you. If you have a conscious way of creating these interactions, you are way ahead on at least trying to provide the experience you want people to have with you. I feel like building on the idea that brands are like people, when as a brand strategist or someone in charge of a brand, you're trying to figure out what the brand stands for, what the brand's about, and how we're going to communicate this brand. It comes very handy to have some elements to try to understand this brand a little better. That's why we give brands a vision. That's why we give brands values. In a way, I feel like we're kind of like personalizing a brand and like turning a company into a character so people can actually connect with that company. I don't think we connect with logos. Like, I don't connect with logos. Like, yeah, I see a symbol, and like a symbol, unless I know what that symbol is, doesn't mean anything to me. And the same with words. Like, if it's an abstract word I don't understand or I don't know, it doesn't mean anything to me. Now, when we start adding layers of meaning to those symbols or icons or words, they start to mean something to us. As someone in charge of a brand, that's what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to create a meaning for those symbols and words that is aligned with what you want to achieve as a company and that will attract the people you want to have as a community, whether that's your customers, but also thought leaders, other brands, partners. Like, a big community is not just people who buy from you. It's also people who potentially can buy from you in a year or two or like 5 years from now. This is why we use some elements to personalize or turn brands into characters so we can have feeling for those companies. And so this is the reason why we apply all these things to brands, in my opinion. And it's very powerful. And the same thing with like a story, giving the company a story, or maybe using the story of the founder to transfer those values to the company is also very powerful, because for gazillion years, human beings have communicated with other human beings through stories.
Every business the successful ones, they are an experience. They build experiences where they tell you a little bit of a story, whether if it's a great story or not, but you can feel that they are doing so. So my name is Ezequiel Abramson. I'm Argentinian. I live in Madrid, Spain. I work as a brand consultant, helping entrepreneurs, actually founders from startups, to develop their brand strategy. In a way, it's kind of changing their mindset from trying to sell a product to build a brand. And 90% of the startups we know, especially in technology, they basically develop a product and they rush into pushing money to marketing to bring customers and try to make sales, which is a lost opportunity. Most of startups also fail because of not having a strategy. Now, before doing this, I worked for 22 years at Disney. Most of those years, I was a general manager for the digital business in Latin America. I joined in the 90s as a creator, joined the characters, and I was also a digital designer in that time, and quickly got into technology, and I became the responsible for anything digital at Disney in that region. In order to have a great story, you need great characters. And who are the characters in the story that a brand needs to tell? Well, the first character is the hero. The hero, I believe, and that it's a customer. The customer is a hero that has problems. The brand could be the mentor in that story that comes here to help the hero, like in the best movies we know, to solve those problems, whatever they are. Maybe the villain in the story would be the big problem in the world that the hero is facing. By having great characters, you can tell a better story, connect emotionally. But those characters need a personality. A lot of science around or psychology have talked about their studies, exercises, opinions, comments about brand personality, assuming if we embed some human personality, some human traits, characteristics to the feel of the brand, customers are going to relate better. They are going to connect in a more meaningful way with the story, with the brand. Actually, psychology has also proven that we react more positively to stories than the functional information. So that's why it's more fun to go to the movies than to go to school. Fun is the idea, right? It makes us feel more positive way. And once you know who's your customer, what they need, what is the difference you bring to the marketplace, how can you create associations that make you unique, and what type of storytelling you want to tell, the character is going to tell it, which is the brand, because of being a little bit more human, has a tone of voice. That's why we say voice. Then you think about the identity. What are the distinctive assets that you're going to develop to evoke those feelings, to represent what the things that you want to stand for, to create those associations with our mental cues for us to recognize something. Right now, most of the people you know, and I know, when we talk about brand identity, they would say visual, logo, colors, typography. I believe a lot of brands can be built for the 5 senses, not only for the sight, but also for hearing, for the smell, for the touch, and for the taste, if you have the possibility to create or deliver food. Now, I'll give you an example. If I bring you into a McDonald's store with your eyes shut, you're definitely going to smell it, and you're going to recognize it. If I close your eyes and I turn a Netflix episode and you hear the sound, ta-da, you're going to know exactly what we are doing without hearing. So we are appealing to the senses, and it's part of the identity. So brands need to think about this if it's relevant to the story they want to tell, to the experience they need to create, to the associations they want to define. You need to decide what are those cues and associations for people to recognize you, remember you, and connect more emotionally.
When it comes to creating a visual identity, working with a design team that knows how to do this is always preferable. And when you do this, they're going to start breaking things down into several different, we call them prompts, but brand attributes. The brand attributes are things like voice and tone and look and feel. And then when you take look and feel and you break that down, there's things like typography, layout, color, iconography. And if you can take a look at each one of those attributes and each one of those facets of each attribute, you can make strategic decisions that will allow you to influence your brand, like that reputation that people are thinking about. And you'd be surprised how massive your choice of font, say, for example, how massively impactful that can be to someone who's making a purchase decision. My name is Ben Burns. I am a designer and maker and creative director, and currently I serve as the Chief Operating Officer here at The Future. Especially on the visual identity, it's a series of scientific experiments. You pose a hypothesis where it's like, let's test this thing out, where we roll out a design, we're putting together an entire brand's worth of visual identity work, where we've got packaging and we've got a logo design and UI design, and we kind of test things. We see how it goes. Then we reevaluate. Is there alignment? Did it impact things like conversions? Is it enforcing a negative perception, or is it trying to improve that perception? Or does it just, not hit? And so there's a series of these hypothesis, experiment cycles that a brand can go through, especially on the visual identity front, that will help you end up in a brand that your customers will love, or a visual identity that your customers will love. Keeping branding in mind, I would say that the most important thing is to find a market that you can help. And I like to say market. I hate the word niche. Niching is just a loaded term. We have to pick a market in order to market to the market, right? We have to do that. And so inherently, you have to specialize in a certain group of customers. But if you can find a group of people, humans, that are either in pain or they're trying to run towards something and it's a struggle, then by helping them, they will reward you with their loyalty and revenue. And I think that if you base everything on the humans that you're trying to help, instead of the internal drive to create something that you want to create, then I think that, that's going to lead you to the right market. All the time, we've faced this with our clients, where our clients will bring their personal opinions to the board, and sometimes they're spot on, but sometimes they're more driven by the baggage that they've brought to the table. And so what we try to do in helping them create brands and websites and all the marketing collateral that they need and commercials and all these things is refocus on what their market is actually needing. And so if you can base all of your business decisions on what your customers need, you'll find success. There's like this weird trifecta that you have to establish balance within.
Because passion isn't going to make you succeed. Businesses aren't just like whatever boxes and products.
If you're unable to make people care about your product, you're not going to have a business.